Hello viewers, students and friends at home. This is St. Charles College Onitsha online teaching and the subject is English language. I am Ezue Geraldine Wanneka, your teacher. Previously, we looked at prefix and we defined prefix as a morpheme added to a root word to form another word or to modify its meaning. We also looked at examples of prefixes like il, im, on, and so on. Then we looked at the meaning of these prefixes. For example, anti means against. Today, we are going to continue with the lesson, and the topic for today's lessons is functions and uses of prefixes. But before we continue, we shall look at the specific objectives. Specific objectives, that is what we mean here is the expectation, what I'm expecting that by the end of the lesson, I know you are wonderful students and attentive too, you'll be able to give me answers to the following questions. 1. State the different uses of prefix. 2. Give examples of prefix of numbers. 3. List 7 prefixes used to show location and distance. 4. Generate antonyms using prefixes. And lastly, explain what we mean by preservative prefixes. Now we move to the lesson proper. Uses of prefixes. Prefixes change the meaning of word in different ways. That is why we say that we use a prefix to modify the meaning of words, because these prefixes, they have meaning in themselves. So when we add a prefix to the root word, it modifies the meaning of the word in different ways. So the uses of prefixes are classified under the different meanings they have. Some prefixes like on, this, and the super have different meanings when used with different words. So some of the uses of prefixes are: 1. Prefixes are used to show negation. What do we mean by negation? To show negative, no, not, disapproval, or nothing. This is what we mean by negation. So a prefix can be used to show negation or disapproval. For example, we have this, disappear, disagree, disown, disregard, do not regard, disapprove of what he's saying, disregard it. Then we have im, inefficient, insensitive, insecure, inaudible, intolerant. They are all showing negation. When somebody is not tolerant, that person is intolerant. That is showing negative attitudes to tolerance. Then we have non-existence, non-violence, non-standard, unhealthy, uninformed, undressed, unhappy, unluck. Then we have imperfect, impossible. Then we have ill, illicit, illegal, illegitimate, and illiterate. These are examples and more of them of prefixes that we use to show negation. Prefixes can also be used to show number. When we add a prefix to a root word, it practically shows us the number of what we mean as regards the root word. And prefixes of numbers are uni or mono, which means one. For example, unilateral, unicellular, monopoly, monologue, monocotyledon. We also have bi. Bi means to, buy or die. And we have words like biannual, that is something that happened in 2 years. Every 2 years, we say biannual, 2 years. Bifocal, bilingual, and diphthong. Diphthong means 2 sounds. Then we have 3, tri, which means 3. And we have examples: tricycle, triplet, triangle, tripod, and so many of them. Then we have poly, which means many, polygamy. Polygamy is when a man is involved in marrying many wives. Then we have polytheism. They believe in the worship of many gods, poly. Then we have card. Card means 4. We have quadrangle, quadruplets, and so on. We also have other prefixes of number, like that show number, like we have multi. Multi also shows a number. We have penta, pentagon, hexagon, hexagon 6, pentagon 5, sexagon 7 angles. So all these are prefixes that we use to show number. Prefixes can also be used to show antonym. What do we mean by antonym? Antonyms are words that are nearly opposite in meaning to another word. So we can use prefix to form opposite of another word. That is antonym. We can use prefixes to form opposite of another word. And we have on, if healthy is the word, and unhealthy becomes the opposite of healthy. Natural, unnatural, tie, untie. If you tie a goat and some other person does otherwise, he unties the goat. That is what we mean by using prefixes to form antonyms. Then we have misled, misinformed, misquote, misunderstand, inaudible, indecent, inaccessible, inadequate. Then we have improper, impossible, impolite, immorality. Then we have ill, illegal, illegitimate, illiterate, illegible, and so many other examples. Prefixes also can be used to show attitude or orientation. We can use prefix to show attitude or orientation, behavior of people, or orientation somebody has as regard a particular thing. So we have anti. Anti means against. Antibody, anticlimax, anticlockwise, antichrist. If you're not Christ, you're antichrist. Then we have pro-democracy. If you're not for democracy, you are promoting democracy. Pro-government, pro-military. You have the orientation to support democracy, support the government, support the military. Then we have co. Co is also used for orientation or attitude. Co-tenant, coexist, co-pilot, cooperative. Then we have contra flow. It shows orientation. If it is not moving the other way, it is going the other way. That is the orientation. We have contraindication. Then we have counter sign, counterbalance, counterpoint. It shows orientation. That when somebody signs, you have to counter sign. Good. Then we can also use prefixes to show size and degree. For instance, we have hyper. Hyper means much. It shows the size, it shows the degree. Hypertension, hypersensitive. Hyperinflation, so that the inflation is high. Then we have hyperactive. Then we have mini, it shows size. Mini means small, mini bus, small bus, mini skirt, small skirt, mini computer, like the phone is a mini computer, small computer. Then the Android phone is a mini computer. Then we have mega. Mega means big, much big. Megabyte, mega star. If you're a star, you can be a superstar. Then another person will be a mega star. Then we also have out as a prefix that shows a size. We have outgrow, outshine, outweight. It shows the size or the degree. Then we have subhuman, subatomic, subtropical. These are prefixes that show size. Then prefix can show that we have superstar, superego, supernatural, superhuman. It shows that this is above ordinary. Then we have undercharge, underpay. That's the degree of something. If you charge your phone, you did not charge it up to the required percentage that your battery can last, it means that you undercharge. It shows the degrees below, it's not above. Then we have underdeveloped, like some countries in Africa are underdeveloped, below development. That's the degree. Then we have surcharge, tourism, surface, surplus. So these are prefixes used to show size and their degree. Prefixes can be used to show distance or location. Distance or location. For example, we have extracurricular. That is going far beyond what is expected in the curriculum. Extracurricular. Extramarital, as extramarital. Extramoral. Extramoral, for example, in a lesson, you acquire knowledge, then you go for an extra lesson, is an extramoral. That's showing location or distance. Then we have forefinger. It shows the location of the biggest of your finger. The foretoe, then forward, and the forefather. Then we have interchange, interlock, interrelate, interconnect. We also have tele shows distance, teleport shows location, teleport, just a kind of abstract travel, shows the location, teleport, telephone, television. These are all prefixes we use to show distance and their location. Television, somebody is showing something somewhere at a distance and you're watching it in your living room. Television. Okay, then we have trans. Trans is also a prefix that shows their location. Trans means move. Transplant, move from one plant to another. Then we have transport and transatlantic, movement on the Atlantic Ocean, across the Atlantic Ocean. Then 7 prefixes can be used to show time and their order. Time and order. Forecast, foresee, foreshadow, foretell. Then we have neo. Neo is sure to show a particular time in history. Neoclassical, neocolonial, neonatal, immediately after the classical period. That is what we call neoclassical. Then we have neocolonial, immediately after the colonial period. Then we have neonatal, immediately after a child is born. That is the neonatal period. Then we have post. Post shows time. Postgraduate, you have graduated. A time you have graduated and you continue your study. Then we have postmortem. A kind of postmortem is a kind of award given at the time that somebody is already dead. Then we have post-industrial. Then we have prearrange, preoccupy, and premature. It shows order. Then These are the uses of prefix. Another major use of prefix we have reservatives or preservative prefixes. What is preservative prefixes? Preservative means having the ability to keep or provide protection. And it is from the verb preserve, which means to keep something protected from anything that could cause its current quality or condition to change or fall out of use. So some prefixes are used to preserve the word, to keep them in the quality they ought to be, so that they don't fall out of use. So with that we say preservative prefixes are those prefixes that keep the present quality or condition of a word from changing. Condition of a word from changing. Examples of preservative prefixes are the. You see, in these prefixes we have here on the board, their words are retained. Decode, code, decode. We can also use these preservative prefixes to form antonyms. But what we are trying to say here is that some prefixes preserve the word, they don't change them in total or entirely. So we have decode, deconstruct, defrost, destabilize. Then we have this, disconnect, disinfect, disposes, disapprove, uncover, unearth, unclean, unlock, unemployment. Then we have rework, re-examine, reassure, reconsider. All these are what we call prefixes, preservative prefixes. So, remember, the lesson is still functions and uses of prefixes. We have looked at different ways prefixes function and their various uses. So prefixes, as I said in our previous lessons, that prefixes don't just throw away the word class. No. When we add a prefix to a word, it retains most of the time the word class. For instance, if we have grade, grade can be noun, it can be verb. And if we have on added to grade, we have word like on grade, and it still retains that quality. For verb, grading, ungrading, it still retains the quality of a verb. But some prefixes can be used for grammatical conversion. Just very few of the prefixes can be used for grammatical conversion. The prefixes in English generally do not change the grammatical class to which the word belongs, but very few can change its grammatical class. That is, from verb to adjective, noun to verb, and adjective to verb. Examples: verb to adjective, we have a as a prefix. Then blaze. Blaze is a verb, and if we add a, we get ablaze. Agape, asleep, alike. So these are verbs that when we add prefix, they change to adjective. We can also change noun to verb by using prefix like be. Bedevil. Devil is what? A noun. And if we add be, it changes automatically to verb. Bedevil, befriend, beseech, bewitch. Encode, endanger, enforce, enlist. Now, if you look at the root word of these verbs, code is a noun, danger, noun, force, noun, list, noun. But when we add this prefix, it changes these nouns to verb. That is what we mean when we say prefixes can be used for grammatical conversion. Then adjective could be changed to verb. For example, large is an adjective, rich, adjective, short, adjective. But when we add the prefix n, it changes to enlarge, which is verb, enrich, which is also a verb, and ensure. So these are the little or minimal cases where prefixes are used for grammatical conversion. Note seriously that prefixes do not naturally change the meaning or the word class of the verb. They modify it. Okay. So that is it, my wonderful students and viewers at home. I know you must have learned one or two things from the lesson. And now we come to the evaluation, when you will tell me what you have learned, as I stated in my objective, that by the end of the lesson, you'll be able to tell me, now, what have you learned? So you're going to supply the answers to these questions in your assignment. 1. State the different uses of prefixes. Give me at least 5. Give 10 examples of prefixes of a number. You have to use your dictionary this time. Sit down and bring out prefixes of number, 1 from each. I gave you up to 7 or 5 here, but what I want is 10. 3. Give 7 examples of word that shows location and their distance. 7 examples of word that shows location and their distance. Then we have 4. Generate antonyms using the following prefixes. Generates antonyms using the following prefixes: on, im, mal, miss, none. What I am expecting you to do here is to give me, for example, happy is the root word. The antonym will be unhappy. So you do it for the 5 of these prefixes I give you here. Don't write the examples I give. Write your own examples. Then number 5, what do you understand by preservative or reservative prefix? Preservative or reservative prefix, they are the same thing. Number 6, list 5 examples of preservative prefixes. So I'm expecting that you do the assignments judiciously, and I want to use this opportunity to thank you very well. I've been getting your feedbacks on the previous assignments. You did well, though some of you had a little hitches here and there, but generally it was good, and I am encouraging you. Tell your friends who are not participating, let them participate and do these assignments. It's for your own good while you stay safe at home. So my wonderful students and viewers at home, this is where we draw the curtain to today's lesson. I am still your teacher, Ezue Geraldine Nwanneka. You can send your assignments to this WhatsApp number 07039603626 at St. Charles College, Onitsha. Remember, please, send only your answers. Don't call me on phone. Don't disturb me with WhatsApp call. Just send your answers. Thank you very much, and remain blessed as you continue to